We'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for a moment.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilwoman Stott, can you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes, I would like to do the Lord's Prayer tonight. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
All right, everybody's here. So, minutes.
Make a motion for the minutes.
For the regular meeting and the special.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
regular meeting was
for both.
out. I was going with regular meeting.
Second.
Walter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter, and Yoder. Yes.
Okay, when do you go for this special meeting then?
On
If there's any corrections.
the last paragraph, on page 3, second line, toward the end of the line, please strike the "at least" from that statement.
What was that again, Mr. Ford?
Page 3 of 4,
Uh-huh.
last paragraph of the page,
Mhm.
second line to the right-hand side. The way it's written here says he is to clock in at least once per day.
Okay.
My intent was once per day.
Once per day.
Same issue in the very last paragraph, or, no, I'm sorry, the third paragraph of the fourth page. The language is there also. Please strike the "at least" from line 3.
Okay. So, we'll need a motion for the special meeting with, the amendments.
Motion.
I'll second that.
Walter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder. Yes.
Bills.
Motion.
Walter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder.
Okay, we have 1 hourly workers' time report. All right, fireman's time.
Motion.
Second.
Walter,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder. Yes.
All right, Deborah. You're up.
I have nothing to report. The next thing would be the legislation. I gave each of you a copy of ordinance number 2211. If you want to discuss that, read this, make changes. created by the solicitor in regards to the salary of the village administrator.
I'd like to discuss page 1 at the bottom, section 4, and removing section 4 entirely from the ordinance.
Yeah. Any other corrections or?
I would like to have more detail on, in addition to his or her statutory powers, this is section 8, village administrator shall be responsible for reviewing, checking accuracy, and signing off of all timesheets for any employee under his supervision. Should we not have which employees are under his supervision there? I mean,
I didn't know the answer to
Mhm.
that, but if I have a draft open right now that I can just edit it.
so you
So I've already struck section 4 from it, and that would be revising now section 7.
8.
Oh, yeah, there is a double A, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
So that
It
works out
was-
perfect.
It was 8A. 8A.
8A, okay, so now section 7, and signing off on all timesheets for the following employees under his supervision. Does that work? And then we list them?
Following employee positions, that way if any changes, the paper doesn't have to, but the position stays.
Would that be all hourly?
Yeah, wouldn't that be how that would work? Would be all hourly employees? Isn't that how that normally works for village administrators?
We have a full, my understanding is the village administrator would clock in at least once.
Right.
Well, would clock in once per shift.
Right.
For others, you could have it where they have to clock in once, you could have it where they log their time. You can have a full-time employee whose salary log time, you just can't compensate them on the basis of time.
Well, I think what,
I think we're on two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're on section 8.
Yeah, we're on that first section 8 in here.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
addition to his or her,
Statutory powers and duties, the
Yeah.
village administrator shall be responsible for reviewing, checking accuracy, and signing off on all timesheets for any employee under his supervision, and I guess we're just trying to verify who would be considered under his supervision.
and I modified that so that it's, and signing off on all timesheets for the following employees,
Mm-hmm.
which we can list as positions under his or her supervision.
Is there a village administrator book that lists what he oversees, that you can just maybe refer to? or-
I don't know if there is.
Okay, so then we should put it there.
I'm assuming that would be,
Secondary.
how a revised code possibly.
What employees are under a village administrator's
Mhm.
supervision? So under these, the statutory duties, you could surmise which ones, like wastewater, but I don't know day-to-day who is reporting to the village administrator.
That would be
Road,
probably everybody but the clerk, because clerk's a salary
Mhm.
position. You know what I mean? Be hourly, I guess.
Be all hourly, yeah, essentially it would be all hourly employees for the village of Beach City.
Because clerk, he's not over the clerk.
Yeah, the clerk is a voted in
Elected.
elected position,
Elected.
right?
Yeah.
That would exclude the police department, though.
Right,
the fiscal officer will not be an elected position.
Right.
So that would be,
so we'll just don't, if we
That would
ever
be an
create
hourly.
a salaried position, this
No,
would
she's
also
an
have to
hourly.
change.
right.
Yeah, it'll say hourly, but if we ever were to create a salaried position,
Salary.
this would have to be edited along with
Right.
everything.
I wasn't writing it along the lines of hourly versus salary, just who is the village administrator responsible for tracking and checking accuracy of time?
Just positions would be sufficient.
Wait, what was that?
Saying the word position versus hourly.
And I just had, shall be responsible for reviewing, checking accuracy and signing off on all timesheets for the following employees under his or her supervision. But we could change it to positions. I wasn't planning to put names, I was going to put
Right.
the employee being like assistant superintendent, water.
Well, why can't it be hourly?
It can be hourly, it can be salary.
I mean, it doesn't take anything to amend it later on if we have a salary, I mean, or somebody like that to throw in there, it takes 2 seconds to amend
Yeah,
it.
we'll just know that we would have to do it,
Right.
so it's not hard.
Under section 6, the last, can you remove the at least from that,
You
please?
really don't like those words.
You don't
do
like
you?
that?
No, I don't, because it's
No.
open-ended,
Yes, it
and it's
is.
subject to interpretation, and how I look at it is gonna be very different than how the next person does.
And where did you say that is?
Section 6.
Section 6, the last 2 words in the first
Okay.
line.
Thank you.
How did we resolve checking accuracy and signing up on timesheets? Were we going to list specific or put? Is it in, does it say?
Hourly?
I mean, I think hourly would be the best, I mean, there's no other,
I think the only 2 out of. In my impression, it already says enough there when it says under his supervision.
right, but under his supervision could be used, I mean, you could see that as, you know, person A, B, and C, I could see that as only person A and B. You know what I mean?
That's what I was asking, is there like a
Right.
handbook for the village administrator that lists it? If it doesn't, then just specify here and make it something.
Well, the only 2 in question would be the tax.
Which
And
is
fiscal.
already under him. And we, yeah, and she's hourly,
Right.
and this is hourly.
So would you rather just put it on as there is, on all timesheets for all employees excluding any elected officials? And wouldn't that cover everybody then? Because you're excluding the elected officials?
Yeah, I mean, that,
And that way then it doesn't matter if it's hourly or salary. Doesn't matter exactly, you know what I mean? It's just, it's everybody except for elected.
yeah, that's,
Simple and elegant.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Come up with stuff
That's
sometimes.
yours.
Anything else?
So,
And
well, I was gonna say, so is that how we got that written then, or?
so I was just,
Yeah.
where I was at is trying to get through non-elected or unelected in my mind. And
Oh.
thinking if you had someone who was appointed to council as opposed to going through an election,
Okay.
would that fall, so
Well,
I was trying to say, how do we put a person whose position would otherwise be subject to being filled through an election?
How about,
Even though, or employees, I don't think anybody who's elected is an employee, you're
Right.
an official. Well, you're
that is a
probably,
very good
Employee
shoot,
both,
yeah.
you're probably both an official
Any
and
employee of the village hall.
any employee.
Just any employee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes some real chutzpah for the village administrator to come to the elected officials and ask to see your time.
I'll show it.
Yeah, you don't got one,
I believe
buddy.
you would.
I'll show mine.
So I'm sorry, Georgie, I interrupted you before.
Oh, no, that was fine. I
Okay.
just, and I just wanna confirm that this ordinance repeals all of these, correct?
Previous,
All of these on the first page.
I had it set so it repeals to the extent inconsistent with. And the only reason for that is I don't have copies of each one of those, so I don't know what all was.
Oh, I had them in my book, but I took them out before I came. That was my only question.
Should we remove the ASX? From the village administrator to be the AMP representative?
That was a carryover from one of the priors that I thought we would want. Which number is that, I'm sorry? Oh. I was looking in the, okay, so I didn't add that to this one. I don't know what all was contained in that ordinance, but if it was one that you wanted to repeal entirely, you could.
I just didn't want to come up where he would have to get in contact if this one overrode. If this ordinance superseded this one, where it didn't apply to him anymore.
So that would be a good example of one where it says he is the AMP representative. I don't know what all was embodied in that ordinance, or whether or not council would want him to continue as the AMP rep. So that would be something that, there's nothing in here that's inconsistent with that general statement, he shall be the AMP representative, so he would continue as the AMP representative.
And since we've been dealing with this so long, can we do this as an emergency ordinance?
So I don't have an emergency clause in there, I can add it, we can print it, or the rules could be suspended. It's just a number of people voting that, I have to have the language in for the emergency, the suspension of rules, it would be the 2 votes like council is accustomed.
so we would suspend the rules then, or we make the vote to suspend the rules, to then,
Correct, just as
yeah.
it's been done, I hope. If it's an emergency though, then I have to put the language
That's a
in.
different, yeah, essentially that's a different, that's emergency.
Mhm.
Right. So I'm gonna make a motion to suspend the rules for the 3 readings, so we can get this taken care of tonight.
I'll second that.
Walter,
Yeah.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder.
Yes.
And then if there's going to be a motion to pass, is there some way I could print this out? I would just feel more comfortable if everybody
Ooh.
sees the final, and I think it's appropriate that what you are passing,
Right.
you're looking at as opposed to,
As to just our scribble marks on the paper?
well, no, I just, what's that?
That's not gonna lie.
Yeah, can I connect to that printer? I have HP OfficeJet Pro 9010. Will it print it?
No.
Yes, our brain can.
I did.
Leave.
There's some for you right there. There's some over there, and there's some here.
Why not, you know?
I can bring dog treats. already gave them away.
Oh.
Sean's got the third list of available documents. I have the first two.
Hey, wait a minute, have you ever seen mine?
No. Okay.
You see him, Brenda?
No. Look at that. I love to see pictures.
Oh, yeah, is that what you were waiting on? I'm sorry if you were.
After the meeting.
Yeah, after the meeting, then we can do that.
We've got the spinning wheel currently. No,
Email it to me.
I'm gonna email it right now.
Isn't it technology grand?
Let's see like this. Thank you. You have enough?
I can make some more if you need more.
I'll get.
I'll take it.
I have that. Jim, I've got the digital.
Well, it looks like the revisions were made that we had talked about, so I'm gonna make a motion to pass ordinance 22-11 effective immediately.
I'll second that.
Walter?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Porter?
Yes.
And Yoder.
No.
Is that all you got, Deborah? Oh, I have a question, I forgot to ask you today. Are the auditors done yet? Or are they still?
You haven't heard from the auditors
Yes, that's, well, they're in the process, but she
Yeah.
hasn't heard from them in the last.
Just in case.
Oh, boy.
We have a better later.
Yeah,
Oh, lovely.
no news, good news.
Hopefully.
Did you give everybody a full report, Nathan, or did you wanna?
What I did,
Did you hand it?
before the meeting, I didn't give everyone a copy of that, I was just gonna do a verbal report
Go ahead.
and submit the minutes, if they are approved by the other people who attended the meeting. Submit them that for the record. The utility committee meeting met on April 21st. The people present were the mayor, village administrator, myself, Councilman Hartman, Councilman Balzer, and we had a guest here from the rural development specialist from the Great Lakes Community Action Partnership, a gentleman by the name of Matthew Klein, who shared with us he had significant experience with being a municipality administrator in the past, and works with this agency now that offers support and guidance at no charge to assist us in coming up to compliance with our utilities. During the meeting, the first item on the agenda was the water meter ERT replacement schedule. We did already get 50 meters have been received. The breakdown of that is 30 of them are the ones designated for in-home installation, and 20 are of the variety that go in the pits out by the street. The ERTs, the Hertz, or the device that makes it capable for the utility workers to read the water meters without actually seeing the dial, they can do them electronically, have not been received, and there had not, at that point, been a report of any delivery date. Village administrator was going to track that and report. There's also a list of 68 meters that are going to be evaluated for the priority of replacement in the village. Our second item on the agenda was a water utility loss report trend. And it's listed by the percentage of gallons purchased from our source that are not billed from our, billed to our customers. In January of 2022, there was 49.5% there was 49.5% loss that was not billed. In February, that went to 61.5%. In March, it was back down to 47.7%. Well, there was also identified that there was a hydrant on Third Avenue, which is leaking and needs replacement. And there's a significant leak that's behind the police station, which is reported to be, the suspicion is that the line for that is very deep, and it's gonna be difficult for us to repair. But the resolution of that currently is the feed to that area has been shut off, because the only thing that affects is village property. It doesn't affect any consumers, and it's not like it's a residence. So the workaround of that to provide sanitary services for the village employees that might need something down there is to research getting a porta potty and to position some water jugs so that workers can at least wash their hands. These leaks that were identified here are pending a repair based on us obtaining financial resources, hopefully from the sale of the village property that's up on 93, that's in progress, that property that's near the solar farm. There was also a discussion of the water curb box status. As I mentioned earlier, some of the water meters that we have in town are not in the residences. They're actually in a well casing or casing of some sort out by the street. And those, some of them are, well, they haven't been looked at, let's put it that way. And we're not certain in all instances that they are truly not functioning to provide water for anyone. So that needs to be reviewed, but there was no report of progress on that at that point. Mr. Klein spoke to us at length about providing assistance in obtaining engineering consultants to help us to create a plan of correction for the deficits identified by the Ohio EPA reconnaissance inspection from a letter that we got on March 1st, 2022, and also partial resolution violation letter from December 22nd of last year. I have those letters, they are attachments here, and anyone who wants to look at them, they can. Mr. Klein also offered assistance with legal forms, giving us a way to do the required legal notice of public announcement, so we can go through the process of meeting the regulatory requirements as we go forward. He also looked at our current debt load and offered the opinion that the village would likely be eligible for some funding, loans or grants, to help us create, or to help us correct our wastewater issues. It was identified that there were a few encumbrances to our finances that are going to be completed soon, within the next year, I believe was how that came out. And from looking at that, he thought that us participating in funding either a loan or a grant so that we can correct our water facility issues would be reasonable. He did suggest that we need to move on this with some urgency, because the deadline for submission of the application for funding on this is August of 2022, so it's only a few months out. There was also the next item, water treatment operator succession plan. Our village administrator offered a written succession plan outlining how we were going to fulfill the requirements for the Class 1 and Class 2 licensure so that we can maintain functional utilities. There was a request for a mutual aid document, since we have agreements with local communities for us to reach to them in case of emergency, so that they've agreed to assist us, and we have reciprocity with that. I spoke with the village administrator right before the meeting tonight. There hasn't been any document found at this point, but he is in process of creating that or reaching out to the other communities to see if they have a document on file. Water treatment plant Class 2 operator license status was the next. We were informed that the arrangement we had with a contract Class 2 water license operator was not acceptable from the EPA. So we currently were not in compliance because we did not have a Class 2 operator to cover the function of our wastewater plant. There was a discussion about seeking Class 2 operator coverage from the person who was in that position and retired a brief period of time ago. It was in a waiting period. I guess there's some legal requirement that once an individual retires from a municipality, they can't be rehired immediately. So we were in the waiting time for that. The suggestion was that this option be explored to fill a position for 20 hours a week so we could meet that regulatory requirement. And my understanding was the mayor and village administrator were gonna work on how that might work to benefit the village. There was a discussion about electric utility account status and delinquencies, how the village was working on maintaining current account status. It was reported that we have, the utility bills are sent out and they are due the 15th of every month. If there's a 10-day grace period after that, then the utilities are disconnected if payment is not received. Our village administrator reported that when he assumed his current position, there was a significant number of people in the village who did not pay their utility bills on time. Currently, it was reported that he said there are only 1 or 2 disconnects per month due to non-payment. So there's been a huge improvement in that. The last item on the agenda was a roundtable. Councilman Balzer provided a document which identified a non-compliance citation that the village received first identified on that document was in May of 2008. It's regarding the Article 18, Section 6 of the Ohio Constitution that says the village can't provide utility service to customers outside of the municipality that exceeds more than 50% of the total service by such utility within the municipality. We are currently not in compliance with that ordinance or with that article. There was discussion also regarding the customers in the community that are within the municipality of Brewster, which are currently supplied with electricity by Beach City. There's also some letters, I didn't include them in here because I didn't have them at that point, from the then mayor of Beach City to then mayor of Brewster regarding that. This has been brought up before, and there was no movement forward on that. Brewster, just in a nutshell, said, we're not gonna do it, and that was the end of it that I heard. That was suggested that there's an opportunity to negotiate that. Capital improvement plan and documents were discussed, and the contingency plan for emergency water supply was to be submitted by the village administrator for council review and approval. That was it.
All right, thanks. Is there any visitors?
Negative.
Beach City Fire Bill didn't make it, so no money is wanted tonight. He told me that. Report of calls, they had 104 calls to date last year, at this time 101. Mutual aid, we received from Brewster 4, from Wilmont 3, from Erie Valley 2, and we gave Brewster 5. The update, service on 133 is done and the truck is back in service. They did need the valves, it doesn't say how much they were. 138, service is done, truck is back in service, minimal repairs needed. And 131 is still at advanced tech and should be ready tomorrow. He has here a FEMA grant for JAWS and the rescue pumper. I'm not sure. And then he's ready to set up another safety committee meeting to move forward with stipend or to discuss. I'll have to get a hold of him, we'll have to try to, with everybody working shifts, so we'll figure that out. That's all I got here on that one. So, that's that. Police, Chief Guy, sir.
Okay, so right now we're still dealing with our Red Center dispatching issue. I've got multiple meetings this month. My initial thought process is to give them through the summer. They have a game plan to try to fix what's going on there. So my thoughts would be, let's give them the summer to make this work, see if they can fix it. My problem is if it doesn't work, I'm not going to put my officers or my residents' lives on the line because I don't have a dispatcher, or I have a dispatcher who is just forced to work 16 hours on a day. I can't have that. I've got multiple issues still with them, and at the end of the day, you know, what the other municipalities do, we're probably gonna have to follow with the small guys, and I count on them for my mutual aid. So,
Chief, what is Brewster and them, what are they currently doing? Do you know what they're planning on doing?
they're in the same boat with me.
Same boat, okay, so they haven't made a decision yet.
There's no decisions have been made, we're in the discussing phase, we're trying to weigh out the options. You know, my opinion on it is if Red Center's got a game plan to fix their issues right now, I would hope for the best, and I would not wanna just up and leave them because they're having having problems. I don't think that's right. However, on the flip side, again, my officers and resident safety are my top priority, and if they can't, you know, guarantee that my guys and my residents are safe, I'm going to move. So I'm hoping that everything can work out. I just wanna continue to update you guys and let you know that it might be I'm coming to a council meeting and say, hey, we need to give them a 30-day notice and move on with something else. So I don't wanna surprise you with anything. My goal right now is to stick with Red Center. I don't know if we're gonna be able to. I don't know, and it could be them giving me a notice saying, hey, we can no longer support you. You need to find someone else, because they did ask all of us to go get quotes from other dispatch centers. So definitely some concerns there. We'll see what we can do. Just wanna keep you guys up to date. We're working on it, and I, again, would want nothing more than to work with Red Center, but if on either side it doesn't work out, then again, like, safety is my top priority. And that's a lifeline for everybody. I mean, that's probably one of the most important things we have here is our dispatchers. So I'm hoping for the best on that. I did get a quote for some landscaping work to be done at the police department. We got some weeds growing up pretty good.
You're gonna be pulling them off for free, right?
Sure.
Thank you.
The first quote I got was kinda high, so we're trying to get a couple other ones. We're looking at the ballpark around $2,000 is what my first one was, which
Pull weeds?
we put landscaping gravel down and to do it so it doesn't have to have weeds coming back up through there. So yes, it was a little high. So again, for the work they're doing, I'm not a landscaper, so I would like to get some comparable rates and see what we can come up with there. Other than that, that is all I have for now. We're preparing for Memorial Day. I'm starting to work on that schedule now, so we'll have plenty of officers here. Mayor, are we doing a parade this year?
As far as I know, we are. I haven't heard any different. We did last year, right?
We did.
Or was it?
It was 2 years ago we
Last
did.
year.
Was it 2 years?
I thought it was 2 years ago we didn't do it.
I'm pretty sure we had.
Last year we're going every other year.
Oh.
Oh, because of the band,
It's
that's
too
right.
much for the band to do 4 parades.
Yes,
in.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I will call I'll call the school tomorrow and find out what their plans are on the parade and stuff, and then I'll get a hold of the Legion too.
Okay.
See what they're
Yeah,
doing.
let me know what we need to do.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Cause I'll be, that'll be on my next schedule for my guys to figure out what we're gonna
I
do with that.
forgot they did that thing with the parade.
Other than that, Georgia, I plan on having an officer there Thursday night for National Day of Prayer. I'm gonna make sure I have one there. I don't know that I'll be able to be there, but I'm gonna try to at least have one of my officers there.
All right, thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
no problem. I appreciate you guys doing that. So other than that, that's all I have tonight.
Don't mind, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Village administrator, Spikes.
Okay, still waiting on a price for the SCADA system from Toma. I did have a conversation with him a couple days ago, went over some details, he's still working on that. I thought maybe I could ask the Utilities Committee for another meeting to continue our discussion on what Mr. Porter brought up about the funding opportunity and working with Mr. Klein. We need to make some decisions there so that we can move forward with that. Let's see, we had another EPA inspection, which Mr. Porter alluded to about our NPDES permit. And that one didn't go so well. like you said, we were in violation because we were required to have 20 hours, and they did, well, I'm not gonna go into the details, but they turned around and gave us an NOV for not having an operator there for 20 hours, only 10. So I had contacted our previous operator, and he told me no. So we need to pursue other avenues on how to get ourselves back in compliance with our operator. So I will be working on that here pretty diligently the next couple days. I'm also working on our consumer confidence report. That needs to be updated annually and posted and mailed out to our residences. I'm also working on the backflow letters that we send out annually to residents that have those. Those are gonna be due here real soon. Street department, our new hire, Brandon, went through his first week and it's been all positive. Street superintendent said a lot of good things about him, and he told me that we do not need to worry about this young man, he's gonna be just fine. So that's good news.
Does he
And I'll-
live in town?
I'm sorry?
Does he live in town?
Yes,
Is it,
Second
what is
Street.
this?
Mr. Unglesby,
Yeah, okay. That's what
yeah. Also, we received a letter from the Municipal Road Fund, the Stark County Commissioners. We were awarded a significant amount of money to cover for one of our projects. The amount we were awarded was $52,000. And the two projects that we had submitted to them, let me find the page here. They totaled $225,000. And it was two separate projects. One of them was for $144,000, and the other one was for $81,000. So obviously, the $52,000 does not cover either one of those projects. So I made contact with the county and asked them what our options are for that money. Do we have to take it? No. Are we allowed to bank it and save it and maybe possibly add to it next year through the municipal road fund? I'm waiting on a call back with those answers. I don't know what that is yet. So that's still up in the air a little bit as far as what to do there. But obviously 52,000 isn't enough to do either one of those projects, so. As I learn more about that, I will share it with you all. So like I said, if I could get the utility committee to have another meeting here soon to discuss the RFQ for engineering and decide if we are gonna go this route as far as getting funding for the wastewater plant. And that's all I have.
You need that this week, Jim?
Like Mr. Porter alluded to, timing is everything with this. We have till August to get our project nominated to the EPA, and there's a lot of steps that have to happen before that can happen. And the biggest step is getting an engineering firm and having them create the scope of the project and do all the pricing and design work for that.
As far as, personally,
working
I'm gonna be working afternoons all week, so I'm gone. So if we need, if you guys wanna do it this week, it needs to be either during the day or, and that's,
Or what about next Monday then?
I was gonna say, is Monday, is that too long? Monday I can do after, cause I should be on daylights, and I'll request, I'll make that happen, that I'll be on daylights next
You'll
week.
make that.
So,
I can do Monday or Tuesday.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, you can, okay.
and then the only other 2 days next week, I mean, if we're going into next week, will be Wednesday and Thursday.
Is that okay, Jim, next Wednesday?
Yeah, it's as soon as possible.
Okay.
That's fine.
with me,
Okay,
my
Wednesday,
schedule is easy.
Wednesday at 6?
That's fine.
If you guys want it earlier than that, we can do it at 5, it depends on what you guys want. Is 6 okay? All right. So that'll be on the 11th.
Can we make that earlier? Can we make that 5 o'clock?
Probably.
Or push it to Thursday? I forgot that I have a union meeting that night.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I need Thursday.
You wanna do Thursday at 6 instead?
All right.
Sorry about that.
I mean, all right. I guess a little extra time to work on it, I guess. All right. Okay, so solicitor, you have any for us there?
Just a couple of brief updates. On the autos, I don't yet have the titles. I know.
It's gonna be a while.
And it is out of my hands. I've submitted everything that I can, but I do not have them back. Annexation paperwork has been delivered to the Stark County Commissioner's office. So when I stopped over there, I asked if there were any questions or anything to give me a call, so. Through today, I've not heard anything. They would have 30 days from the date of filing to act on it. And then with regard to Solar Planet that I know we've discussed, I had prepared some paperwork and sent an email to the mayor, to the village administrator, and then to members of the utilities committee, asking if they would be willing to sit down with me as a group to just discuss the status of things, which they graciously agreed. And earlier tonight before the meeting at 6 o'clock, we did sit down and go over that. So I just wanted to make council, as a whole, aware that we sat down to go over that, just kind of discussing where we're at and where we might go forward. And then the last item, just so, again, council is aware, I did get a call from a former colleague at the prosecutor's office who represents the health department, indicating that they had received a complaint from a property that's serviced by our sanitary system, and alleging that it was creating health issues if there were to be sewer backups or things of that nature. So I discussed it. There was nothing that I understood that was going to be proceeding from there. That's not to say it won't, but that's just where we left the situation. It was kind of, here's my view of that. And it seemed resolved for the time being. But again, just wanted council to be aware of that. If I do hear anything else with regard to it, I'll make sure to update it.
Did they tell you if this is the same alleged sewer stuff that had been reported before?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yes, it's outside of the village of Beach City.
It's basically the property owners,
It's past the
Yeah.
lateral.
Right.
Yeah,
it's basically
yeah, or at the lateral.
yeah,
And other than that, I don't have it.
thanks. Anything else to be brought forward to council?
I have something.
You're good.
I would, like to work on scheduling an insurance meeting. I got our current insurance information from Deb the other day, and I spoke with Rob Beglin.
Oh, you get a hold of you?
He got a hold of me, and he was calling you after me, and I told him I would see you, so I would let you know that he did finally get a hold of one of us. So he sent me some information over the, by email, so that I can get information that he needs from our current one, to make sure that he's doing apples to apples,
Right.
the one you sent me, yeah. We would like to, as a committee, have 3 quotes. We're trying, I'm trying to figure out who the third quote from. I don't remember the ones that used to come in at the last minute, but we'll track something down. But I would like that meeting to be the week of the 16th, if that works. That is Nathan and Hazel, yeah, and myself.
That would be the week of the 16th.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think I'll have enough time to have it ready by next week.
Right, I
So
have to
they,
get,
yeah,
I have to get quotes and stuff.
right.
The 16th is a regular council meeting. Would it be
Yes.
agreeable to do that, your insurance committee meeting at 6 on the 16th?
Does that work for you? That, yeah, that will work. And I will keep you guys apprised of information that I'm getting, so. And that's all.
Thank you. Okay, so get that one. Anything else?
Are we able to start the proceeding to sell the house without the cars, where the cars are located at now?
You could move them out.
Right.
I don't know if they're operable. Yeah.
I think the ones in
Freddie
parts,
said he'd store them, I think.
isn't it in parts, chief?
Well, it's been a while since I've been there, I'm pretty sure the one's in parts, I don't know if the other one is.
Wasn't one that somebody was trying to do a race car or something and the cars were.
Is that what the Cadillac is?
I'm not
That's
sure.
my, you could put them next to the trucks that are still sitting down by the sewer plant.
How do you want to pay a total bill for that? I mean, that's.
If it involves the sale of a house, yeah.
Oh, well, no, and I understand, yeah.
But within 5 weeks of putting it up for bid,
Oh, that's a good
you know, a
point.
little bit of auction.
I should be able to do that.
The six of us should be able to push that car.
6 of us, I was thinking Hazel would do it herself.
I'm not pushing anything.
Given the amount of time it's taken, I'll be there to help push as well.
Great.
Thank you so much.
What do you think, Elise?
I'll steer.
Okay, Steve is pushing and we will help
I'll
him. if
steer.
he
We'll all
needs to.
steer.
I'll
Yeah.
steer.
There you go.
That might not be
I'm
productive.
actually pretty good at pushing cars now, and so, not by myself, but
Okay.
Is there any update on ownership of the property
On
down
what?
the ball fields?
I haven't heard anything. I'll talk to him tomorrow, because I have to ask him about the parade, so.
Or I thought you said you were going somewhere and you were gonna ask around. I forget what you said.
Oh, down at the,
Yeah.
yeah, they have no idea. None whatsoever. That's what he told me anyways, but he was captain, and it was basically, you know, I think what I wanted to do is, call the, the auditor, whatever. I'll call over the courthouse. Somebody's gotta figure it out. Somebody's gotta know what it is. I'll make that call now, too. Yeah. No, do that. Yeah, somebody's gotta know.
yeah.
I mean, sporadically, certainly.
Well, they should have it, courthouse, they got all the names.
And
I
I
wanna
don't
spread it
know-
all out, it's gotta be those big long
Was
ones.
that
Yeah,
a
the
hundred,
Cory's on.
was that a hundred?
It was fun though, right?
That we did, we've gotta do
It was
like
teasing.
50 years in now, I would
Yeah,
think.
but if we're leasing it, they still own it, so. Or whoever, if we're leasing it, that means somebody else owns it.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna find out.
What about a meeting with Camp sometime, we're gonna discuss a lot of it.
I can set that up if you'd like.
Yeah, we'll have to make it so that, that all of us can go, that you can go. We can go. Mhm.
8:30.
Oh, do you? You'd be able to go through, you wouldn't be able to go through the day then, would you? In the middle of the afternoon?
Find out the availability of his vacation. It'll just be, I mean,
Okay.
presumably you'd meet there.
We'll let you know ahead of
Yeah,
time.
as long as I have that
Give you enough.
advance notice.
Sure. Okay, we'll see what we can do on that. Mm. Anything else there, Sean?
Do you have a date for the Birch Street thing? Second Birch? For the Ice House?
I do not.
Should we contract that out, or?
I would rather we did. But yes, we've been discussing next steps here with Derek and Eric, the two maintenance men.
That particular leak you're referring to, how long has that one been on?
Since December 1st.
Was that the one you gave me the breakdown of the projected, what the cost of the water, just
About
the water?
about $1,700 in water.
Since then,
Yeah.
since December.
I don't know what, what it would cost to have an outside contractor come in and repair that. I can understand not wanting to hire someone from outside if we have the personnel and the capability of repairing it. But at some point, it becomes necessary to just stop the leak, so we're, stop wasting the water and spending the money.
Anything else? Yeah, he was.
I put some papers together, and I got the ball games going, starting tomorrow, park. And, so I'd like to share some papers with you, give you some idea of all of that.
Good luck to Debbie.
On your first page, this simply is a Ohio Revised Code 75518, and it tells you a little bit about village. So a little bit fun to read that. And that is for the Park and Rec. It's a committee, not a board. On the second page, this is Debbie's department, and it has the total work, the total park department, and then it has allocated funds in that. And Deb can tell you what that covers right now. On your third page, it has, and all of these are Deb's department. It has the park and recreation, the salaries, employees, contractual, and supplies and materials. And the next page would be capital improvement. It has park donation. And then the last one is a list of the dates that they're having involved in Bank Park. And that will start tomorrow, the 3rd, and it will run until June the 8th. And each one of those has dates. Now, evidently, I would just, Mary Beth, that is the list for your children's games. It wouldn't be for all the games they have down
I
there.
think it's just for the one, it says for the games in the park in Beach City, so they're just for these two up here.
And that would cover all that they have in there.
I think so.
Well, they have one Saturday.
Oh, maybe it was a scrimmage. Was it a scrimmage?
It looked like they were in uniform,
Yeah,
but
and they will be in
I
uniform.
can't, I
think
didn't
it-
go up to
Cause my
check.
son had it, well, it got canceled, but he doesn't play at those fields, but my guess is it was a scrimmage.
Okay,
I'm
I
gonna
just saw the players in uniform and all the cars parked.
guess.
I
Yeah,
don't need a copy of that.
Yeah, you just.
So,
I figured, thank you. Okay, so it's a scrimmage.
So, what I'd like to do is to, do the concession stand for those games. We just need to know how we handle the financing to provide for the concession stand.
How's it been done in the past?
I think it's everything.
Okay.
This is all.
Can I have a copy of the schedule to give Kat so she doesn't overbook the pavilion?
Well, I think you should brought it into my office prior to discussing it at the council. But how are you running it? What are you doing? How are you doing this? Are you doing it as a member of the CIC?
This is part of
Is he getting
So Park and Rec is running
Thank
this.
you, I appreciate that.
It'll probably go into the general fund.
Figure out how to go on that, or how do I get this accomplished?
Well, you'll have to have council vote on you being paid money for supplies. And then you'll have to keep it like a petty cash system, as we do here. And then any profit you made on it, above and beyond what you're keeping in like a box or a drawer, would come back to me, and put into the general fund.
All donations. So we
Into the general fund, under Park. I would say to cover the starting amount of money would be the best guess. Do you know what you would be doing? Do you know how much you'd be needing, or?
I really don't, I mean, I could help, I would say. Well, we're gonna have out how many games, so, you know, it's not like I'm gonna buy enough for all the games.
No, that's why I said, start out with a petty cash box and then,
Yeah,
give me what above and beyond, and then we'll put it in the general fund.
What do you have any recommendations? For like a petty, you say a petty is like $100.
I keep $100 in my drawer, buy postage and whatever. If someone wants to go purchase something, you know, a belt or something, they don't wanna use a credit card, or we don't have an account, I give them cash, so.
So we need an amount for initial supplies and a petty.
I would think so.
And I know we had come up with something last year, I thought. Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Now, you do know this will be audited. Your records will be audited. You have to keep specific records, all your receipts, everything. You will be audited.
so, I know when we did the, concession stand, last summer, we carried $100
Thank you.
for handling the sales and things, so we had to at least have that. And then we have to figure out how much we would need on that. I would say probably $150. So that would be $250 right there. But that, we get, depending on what we have.
Well, and then you'll make money
Yeah.
off of that, which will go to the general fund, but then she'll have access to that for the next supplies, right?
In the general fund.
Yeah, that's what I said, but, so if she gets like $250 just to start out, and it gives you the money that she makes, and then we don't have to go through this again, we'll come to you and say we need money for supplies for their.
I would suggest putting it through the council, getting it
Every time.
every time, yeah.
Well, then we're gonna have to have permission through basically all of May.
Yeah, to Julie.
And funds and enough supplies for them.
So you'd have to have a figure for all this games?
Well, we have to run through council because we're gonna have games between time, you know. Cause they're like 3, 4, 9, 11, 12.
So the next council would be the 16th, so we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. If you figure $150 per game, that depends on what you have. How many was five times 150?
$750.
But
Down
that's saving my
100
brain.
still,
But-
that's what I have.
But you will be incurring a profit with your sales to begin with. You're not going to require
Right.
funding of $150 for each game to get your initial stock. You just need that
After the
once.
first game, your petty will be larger.
You would hope,
Use it more
otherwise,
for supplies, yeah.
otherwise you're
But if
not
we-
pricing your
Right.
items correctly.
Yeah.
So you only need 150.
Bottom line, it will be a learning experience because we're just starting, so
Yeah.
we can do our best and learn as we go. That's all we can do.
Will the restrooms be open while you run concessions? I received 2 phone calls over the weekend on the scrimmage asking for the CIC to open the restrooms. I politely told them, I don't control the restrooms, but I was hoping a parent would come tonight. I didn't get here in time to put my name on the sheet.
I was hoping that, well, I think the baseball,
I think I let
Association
Vance
does
know
that.
that
Well,
if
they
a
don't have to
village
report it.
hall
Yeah.
employee was present, they would open it. Otherwise, if it was an event that did.
Can I ask for special permission to open it for their scrimmages? I live 2 blocks down. It's,
Wasn't
but
the
that's up to
ball-
you guys. They put in the porta potty,
Oh,
but
it
when
is
I looked
there.
down there, you easily had almost 100 people. One porta potty's not gonna cut it. But I got 2 calls from people who are like, we know you're part of the CIC, but it doesn't belong to me, so
The
go
ball
to council.
association.
Who put the porta potty down
The
there?
ball association.
Have them put down another one then.
I will
I mean,
inform the
that's-
parents of that.
I mean,
I'd rather
That's
open
just
it up.
what people called me and asked, and I said, I
mean,
can't
what
do
are we-
anything.
What are we out?
Well, but we just have to make
Well,
sure someone's available to clean them.
that we've had.
But if we have someone that's there, checking to see that it was in the shape that it was in when they opened it,
You wanna do
they're
that?
gonna say. we're
If I have
gonna
to, I
do
will.
that.
That's the hard part, is just making sure we're still.
Yeah, cause
Until we have cameras. Just sure.
That's up to you guys. I
Well,
just want to
and-
throw it out there and down the road, I
They
could
have, they have.
check.
to.
I could be your backup.
They have to protect it at some point.
Right.
Concession stand on it,
Yeah.
fantastic.
But they should be done with the scrimmages before long, so for the games, they will be open.
Okay, that was just what I got
Yeah,
calls
yeah.
for. I wanted to let y'all know I didn't get here in time to sign up.
If concessions are open, the bathrooms should be open.
Okay.
And tomorrow's the first game,
And
so I would.
I just
assume
got the
I
schedule.
would
My kids aren't
assume
playing this year,
the
so,
scrimmages are
but
not.
since we're right down the road, I wanted to throw it to y'all.
Okay, so we need to just approve.
So are you wanting 250, is that what, 100 for petty cash and 150 for supplies? Is that what you're asking for? Would that- Okay.
I'm guessing 150,
Who's going to be manning the concession stand?
Hazel,
Well, I mean, that could be more than a one-person job.
yes.
Oh, it is.
I was just kidding that Hazel would be doing it by herself.
I haven't talked to you, but I know you've offered any assistance, is that still an option?
I received a phone call from Hazel this afternoon, actually,
Okay,
asking if the CIC wanted to be involved in the concession.
okay,
We never discussed it as a corporation. We're not gonna step on the toes of Parks and Rec. If you guys wanna run it, that's fine.
I think the more hands the better in the community is my view.
I would suggest putting it online for volunteers.
Yeah, okay.
I couldn't remember asking if CIC wanted to participate, I asked.
No, you asked if we were planning on doing anything, and I said we weren't, so that's fine, yeah, but I would suggest putting it online for volunteers. We get a lot of volunteers through our Facebook page, it's, works well.
Okay, so we're going back to this. $250, soon we're gonna start out with. What's the pulse of food, nothing about it? Basically,
You gotta start somewhere.
Hot dogs.
You say hot dogs, go to GFS.
Hot dogs and sundaes.
Individual chip packs. Okay.
So we just need a motion then to authorize her for 250. I'll make a motion, for $250 for open concession stand during baseball game. Yeah, Parks
and Recreation. I don't know if you need for supplies on vacation. Can we get a second?
Is she ready? Did you need to have it in there, a 100 for petty and 150 for supplies? Do you need all that detail or?
I just gave it to
Okay.
her.
Sure. I'll second that.
Walter,
Yep.
Bennett,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Porter,
Yes.
and Yoder.
Yes. And I'll just confirm, it's coming from general fund, parks, rec. Fund,
Anything else?
Who do I make it payable to?
Oh, yes, Ben, this is Ben.
Don't show his income.
No. Yeah, how you gonna purchase all this? You're gonna do it tomorrow, too.
If we do a payout, just use cash. And I would probably suggest a schedule for volunteers. First game is tomorrow.
She usually has volunteers lined up for things that she works on.
Hayes will make the expenditure and submit receipts for reimbursement.
I'm sorry.
Couldn't Hazel make the purchase and then submit receipts for reimbursement, so it's not, there are paper trails.
Right.
So,
Yep.
Okay.
So then I guess I take back my motion. I guess I take back my motion. Make a motion to reimburse.
you're allowing her to spend that money. I
Right.
just won't issue her a check until
Right.
she
She
starts
gets you
spending.
So we don't need another, okay. Okay, she would need make change.
Oh,
Mhm.
all right. Anything else?